And then there is the distortion of the economy. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam gave us a free and a fair market. No state interference in the market to control prices. A Hindu who comes into our market comes in with an equal status with a Muslim. No privileges for a Muslim in our market that the Hindu doesn't have. No privileges for the Malay that the Chinese doesn't have. That's the religion that came from Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. But when you distort the religion that came from him and you make your own new religion, and you give privileges to some which are denied to others, you're not only corrupting the people that you're seeking to help, you're also corrupting the economy and the market. And you're laying the foundation for a tomorrow when there'll be bloodshed. Corruption leads to injustices. It leads to oppression and eventually leads to crime. Before we end, the secularization of the market. The market is a place where you do business. And Allah defines a business transaction. A business transaction is one in which you can make a profit or suffer a loss. That's business. The money lender does not want to do that kind of business. He wants to have a guaranteed profit, and he wants to be immunized from all possibility of loss. And so he lends on interest, riba. And Allah says, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. This is halal and that is haram because this is not a business transaction when money is lent on interest. So Allah made it haram. It was haram in Europe. For hundreds of years it was haram in Europe. And read Merchant of Venice, you will see where in Merchant of Venice it was haram. Until the French Revolution. And the French Revolution broke the back of the economy and secularized the economy. And the American Revolution and the Bolshevik Revolution, all three were very, very, very crucially important revolutions. The Bolshevik for another reason. And so now the market is a market which is corrupted, because the banking system is now powerful in the market. And when an economy is based on money being lent on interest, then money will no longer circulate through that economy. No. And so the rich will now remain permanently rich. And the poor will be imprisoned in permanent poverty. And the rich will go constantly richer. And the poor will eventually enter into destitution. And that will lead to crime. Is it so difficult to understand? That the secularization of the economy, of the market, through the introduction of the banking system, is a recipe for crime. And then finally, when you secularize money, I once participated in a seminar in Trinidad with the former governor of our central bank. He used to be the finance minister until about a year ago. Now he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs. A friend of mine. And he's a monetary economist. And I'm not a monetary economist. And we cornered him. There were two of us. And we asked him, you're talking about a politician, as a politician you're talking about values. how important it is to maintain values for the society to be stable and healthy. And we have a question to ask you. Is there not such a thing as integrity of money? You said they never taught us that at university. They never taught us that at university. The secularization of money led to where we are today. It is Dr. Mahathir who explained QE1 and QE2. And QE is not Queen Elizabeth, it's quantitative easing. The US government instructs the Federal Reserve Bank, while my daughters and your daughters from Indonesia have to work as slaves, picking up our garbage and being paid 500 ringgits a month as slaves, morning to night. He instructs the Federal Reserve to write a check for $7 trillion to the banking system. Dr. Mahathir is explaining. They don't need to print the dollar anymore. They don't need the paper, they don't need the ink, they don't need the printing presses. They don't need the security vehicles and the personnel to protect the money that's being transported here and there. Just write the check, one piece of paper, and you send it to the bank. It's still not money. It is when, what's his name in Egypt? The engineer who is now the president and who wants to enforce the Sharia, Morsi. It is when Morsi begs the IMF for the $4 billion, and the IMF, using this imaginary money, then writes a check for $4 billion, and Morsi signs on behalf of Egypt to repay the money to the IMF. Now it becomes money. Until you had signed that document to repay, it was not as yet money. But now, abracadabra, and it has become money. While your daughter and my daughter has to pick up the garbage, leave her husband and leave her children in Indonesia, and come as a work as a slave for 500 measly ringgits a month. That's how they make money. So if tomorrow there's a revolution and there's bloodshed, who should we blame? When you secularize money, you end up with bloodshed. When you secularize the political system, you end up with bloodshed. When you secularize gender, you end up with bloodshed. Secularism should be taken and thrown out into the garbage bin. And let us return to the world of the sacred. This is my message to you, and this is my message to the Muslims of France.